back to Peachy Pilates. This week's workout, we're talking all about our hips. We're going to work on mobility, strength, support, and also help to relieve any tension that we might be holding on in that region. Maybe we don't even know we are. Hips are so important to keep us healthy, walking around, feeling good in our everyday lives. So this video is going to be super helpful for you to just feel more strong, more supported, and overall more peachy every single day. We're going to start here just with your mat. That's all you'll need. We're going on all fours. So knees are under your hips and then wrists are about under those shoulders. Once you get here, try to identify your nice long and neutral spine. So thinking about your head and your tailbone reaching in two opposite directions. We're going to start to breathe here just with a nice simple cat-cow. So as you breathe in, can you drop your belly down? Try to look up towards the sky. Send your tailbone towards the ceiling. There's the beginning of that hip release. And then exhale, curl opposite direction. Take a peek between those knees. Try to pull the back of your belly button, back of your ribs up as high towards the sky as you can. Really pressing away from the mat in both directions. So not only on that angry Halloween cat shape, but as you drop into your extended spine as well. Working on some flexibility in the spine, some flexibility in your core, your center, but also developing that deep strength, letting your body know that it's going to move and preparing it for that movement. We're going to start to make this smaller and smaller. So with every rep, can you control what's happening, making the movement so small that eventually you're just going to end up in a pelvic rock. So your head, your chest stays still as just your pelvis tips forward and back. Feel that pull between your ribs and your hips, just like you would if you were lying on your back doing a pelvic rock, pulling your belly button towards your spine, and looking for that lift from hip to hip in the pelvic floor. We're going to start to take this pelvic rock into what's called a pelvic clock. Instead of just going forward and back, can you start to draw a circle with your hips? Might feel a little funky the first few times you do it, but I promise you it's nice, good work for those hips, for those glutes, for those deep muscles of your pelvic floor that support the musculature of your torso. Feeling strong, feeling long. Don't feel like you have to be super solid here in the upper body. Just do your best you can. Reverse the direction of that circle. It doesn't matter which way you were going that first time. Just go ahead and try to do the reverse. Spine comes into play a little bit here, just like it did on those pelvic rocks. Continue to breathe. Just make sure you're not holding your breath. We're going to do 3 more here in this direction. Oh yeah, these feel awesome. And then once you're done with that third one, just take a second to sit back towards your heels. Take your weight off of your wrists. We're going to be on all fours for a little bit here, so maybe give them a little roll like I am, clasping my fingertips. We're going to go right back to all fours, and just know that you can always make fists into the ground if palms on the ground doesn't feel quite right for your wrists. We're going to start with this series on just the right leg, and then we'll go through the whole entire series on the left side. Can you flex your right foot here? So notice how my toes are now digging it down into the ground. My foot's flexed. I'm going to keep my right foot flexed, and I'm just going to try to swing it straight up towards the sky. So my knee stays bent. Swing that foot towards the sky like you're trying to raise the roof, and then bring that knee all the way back down. Breathing out to lift, lift, lift. Breathing in to lower with control. Try to keep your hips as steady as you can here. Really flexing that foot, driving through your heel is just going to help you turn on your seat, the back half of your leg a little bit more, and allow you to release any tension that may be building up in the front of your hip flexor. A lot of times if we sit a lot, drive a lot, that hip flexor gets super tight. So your range of motion might not look the same as mine, but you should still be able to feel that opening across the front of your hip. Continue to breathe out as you lift for 4, for 3, for 2. We're going to hold that leg lifted on this last one. Now instead of going straight up and straight down, just like with that pelvic rock, we're going to start to draw a circle with your knee. Imagine there's a paintbrush on the tip of your knee. Draw a nice big circle opening up your hip. Just like before, it doesn't matter which direction you're going first. We're going to do both. Won't do very many of these because you'll notice the work is super deep right away. You are feeling it. Notice if there's any points where your hip kind of wants to start or stop. Maybe a little click, maybe a little bit of a struggle in the range of motion. Nothing wrong with that, just notice. We're going to go ahead and reverse the direction of this circle that we're drawing here. Finding that you might feel different in one direction than the other. Staying strong in both arms like two pillars. Support yourself with your upper body and your core. We're going for 3 more here. Breathe your breath into that hip. And then you can go ahead and set your knee down after that 3rd one. Go ahead and keep your foot flexed here. We're going to flex both feet. So both feet are flexed, both sets of toes digging into the ground. You might already notice that your right hip feels a whole lot more open than the left as you head into this position. So we're a little bit uneven from side to side. We're going to go into a little bear crawl position here. All I do is I hover both knees 1 inch up away from the mat. I'm still long in my neutral spine. We're going to head from here into a nice big pike down dog. Can you send your hips up and back? Try to lengthen those legs. They don't have to go all the way straight. I just want you to think about shifting your weight towards your heels and sending your heart back behind those wrists. From here, you're going to transition right back to that bear crawl. Keep those knees hovering. And then exhale, send your hips up and back, big pike. We're doing 3 more of those here. So we're going from your bear crawl to your nice big pike, send your tailbone high. From your bear crawl, activate your core, hips come up and back nice and high. Now on this last one, you're just going to hold your pike position. So nice big V shape of your body. And then walk your left foot about center in the mat underneath you as you swing your right leg straight up towards the sky. Leg doesn't have to be fully straight here. Tiny little pulses with this right leg. We're here for 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up there on 1. You're going to start to drop your right foot towards your left glute. Your knee bends, your hip opens. Feel that nice big range of motion here. That stretch in the right side of your torso. Can you keep your right leg bent and swing it all the way forward into a pigeon stretch? Shin comes as close to parallel to the short edge of your mat as possible. And you can go ahead and walk that left foot back just where it feels comfortable for your hips. Now this is a super deep stretch here, so listen to your body. Make sure you're up over your center, over your core, instead of sinking to one side just to try to get your glute down. So you can stay floating here. Know that that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you're going to try to make your way all the way down to your forearms from here. If you can come all the way down, bringing your head down or your chest down to the ground, there's a good option. But I'm just going to stick with my forearms here for today. We're taking 3 big breaths, trying to release as much tension as we can from the back of our right hip and the front of our left hip. Now, once you're done with those nice 3 big breaths, walk yourself back up to your hands. Carefully, slowly tuck those left toes under. Your right leg is going to step back to meet the left. You'll end up in a nice long plank. Once you're in that plank, feel strong in your core. Pull your center in. And then slowly drop those knees. Untuck those toes. And take the weight off of your wrists. Beautiful work. Give the wrists a little roll like we did earlier. Because we're going to do all of those same exercises with our left leg moving with our left hip. So again, we talked about feeling uneven from side to side. Here we go, we're going to balance that out. Starting back at square one, all fours. You're going to flex that left set of toes and start with those donkey kicks. Exhale up towards the sky. Inhale to drop your knee back down. Both sides are going to feel different. We might notice that difference immediately, we might not. Thinking about your heel pressing to raise that roof, you might feel a little shake at the top. Really opening the front of your hip, but you feel the work in the back more so as opposed to the stretch in the front. So just know that if you can't necessarily tune into that stretch in the front of your hip, as long as you feel that glute squeeze, you're doing great. Make sure that you're holding onto your core. We don't want our low back to move or come into play with this. So just make sure that you're not trying to compensate by moving your low back, but you're really isolating your hip. On the next one, we're holding that knee lifted up high, and we're going to start to draw those circles out towards the side. Remember, whichever direction feels okay for you first. This one for me feels a whole lot different than the first one. You might also notice. Opening up as much as you can, sending your breath into that hip, and then maybe making the range smaller or slower if you need to. If this one feels tighter, there's nothing wrong with that. 2 more here. And we're going to go ahead and reverse. Exhale as you draw that circle. Protect your hip here. Make sure that you're not trying to force it. Opening up as much as feels okay for this one, as opposed to trying to match your first side. You always want to work with your body so that we can work through those muscle imbalances and correct them instead of just encourage them. 3 more here. 2 more here. And then we're going to go ahead and set that knee down. Tuck both sets of toes under and head into our bear crawl position from here. Plank prep to our pike. Exhale as those hips come up and back. Big stretch. Inhale as you keep those knees hovering. They bend just under those hips. Exhale on the way back. Inhale to come back forward. 1 more here. Send those hips nice and high. Hold them high as you send your right foot towards your center midline, towards your gaze. And then lift that left leg nice and high towards the sky. Little baby pulses here with that left leg. We're here for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it up there. Start to drop that left foot towards your right glute as you bend your knee. Feel your hip open up even more. Try to keep your chest as square as you can, so make sure you're opening the hips, not the chest. And then send that bent knee all the way forward. Shin about parallel to the front edge of your mat. Think about sending your breath into the back of that left hip. Release any tension that you can in your hips, but also in your shoulders, in your upper body, in your neck, in your jaw. All kinds of places want to grip on here in this stretch. And then after this last breath, you're coming back up to long, straight arms if you're not there already. This time, instead of stepping back into your plank, we're going to make our way to an extended child's pose. You're going to take that left foot all the way back towards the right. This time, opening up your knees, leaving those toes together to kiss, and then sending your hips as far back as you can towards those heels, reaching your fingertips as far forward as you can towards the front edge of the mat. So this is going to open up your chest, open up your shoulders. You want to rest your forehead down on the mat, you can. Use the feedback of your hands to try to get your seat even closer to those heels. And then again, try to feel as much of a release as you can in your hip flexors, thinking tailbone towards the sky. 2 breaths in this square position. And then we're going to go ahead and thread the needle. Right hand comes up underneath your left. You're going to take a peek at those right fingertips as you twist. And you use that left palm to help you stretch even more into the seat, into those glutes. Also opening up the muscles in your back, in your posture. And you might feel your inner thighs here as well. Same thing on the opposite side. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes up underneath. Take a peek at those left fingertips, big old stretch. Release across those inner thighs, across your shoulders, across your back. And then we'll come all the way to center and slowly walk yourself up, roll yourself up to your knees. Take a breath once you get there. And we're going to come onto our backs from here. So I'll just swing those legs all the way around. Coming onto your back, you can go ahead and grab the backs of your thighs if you want to. Help you roll yourself down without losing control of your core. And then let's go ahead and bring our feet into a Pilates V shape here. So heels together, toes apart. And you're going to bring your arms just all the way down by your sides. We're going to take your bridge in this Pilates V shape of your feet. So it might feel kind of funky on the first one. You're not really used to this position of opening up your hips, turning on the strength in the side of those hips. Can you start by imprinting your spine? You're going to squeeze your glutes, sending your sits bones closer together, and then really ground through all 4 corners of both feet as you start to roll your hips up, up, up towards the sky, and then reach those hips out over your knees.
in that nice V shape. So feel the difference, a little bit more strength in the sides as opposed to directly in the backs of those thighs, those hamstrings. A little bit more work for that seat, for that peach, but a little bit more release across the front of those hips. Take a big inhale. And then with your exhale, you're rolling all the way down. Try to keep your neck relaxed. Pull your belly button towards your spine. Big stretch in the low back. Relax all the way back to neutral once you get there. We're doing 2 more of those. Exhale, squeeze, imprint, roll it up. Find that release. That strength in the back half of your body. Arms are helping you here. Try to keep your collarbone broad and wide. And then roll all the way down. 1 bone at a time. Can't touch without the previous. And then we're doing that just 1 more time. Big inhale, prepare. Exhale, imprint. Ribs and hips glued together. Squeeze those glutes, peel up and away. Big stretch in the front body. Big strength in the back body. And then with your exhale, you're rolling down, down, down. And you can go ahead and bring those feet to parallel once your tailbone touches. Beautiful work. Aren't those amazing? You really feel the work on those. We're going to go into a figure 4 stretch from here, nothing crazy. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. If you want to do the other one first, nothing wrong with that. You can either stay here or flex both feet, grab for that vertical thigh, pull it towards you in that traditional figure 4 shape. And then maybe your elbow presses out on that outside knee just to send you even deeper into your hip stretch. We're always listening to our body, relaxing our shoulders, relaxing our neck. And just like pigeon, breathing into the back of that hip. Similar muscles getting stretched here, that piriformis that likes to tighten up, likes to pinch that sciatic. And then you're going to keep your figure 4 shape, but bring that right foot down to the ground. My arms are going to open like a nice big T. And I'm going to take what's called a figure 4 twist. So left ankles over the right knee. I'm going to start to twist my legs over to the right until my left foot connects to the floor next to me. Can you look over your left shoulder and really feel how that's opening up the front of that left hip? Try to relax as much tension as you can. Might feel a little achy, little sore here. Try not to grip onto your glutes. So you're looking for as much of a release as possible. And if we're gripping on, we're not going to be able to get that full release. Take 1 more breath here. And then you come right back up to center. Use your core, use your obliques to get there. Uncross those legs and figure 4 stretch on the opposite side. Right ankle over that left knee, both feet flexed, maybe reaching through for that left thigh, maybe not. And then holding on with your relaxed neck and shoulders from here. Just like on that first set of exercises, one side might be different than the other. So don't feel like you have to match the first side. Finding your capacity in your figure 4 stretch. And then once you're ready, heading for that figure 4 twist, starting to drop your left foot down, opening those arms to your T, and dropping that right foot all the way over to the left side of your mat, looking past those right fingertips, also feeling a stretch across your torso. So it's not only about those hips, about those glutes, but it's about your whole center, your obliques that help hold you in and create that strength surrounding your spine that we're always looking for. Got 1 more exercise here, lying down on your back. Go ahead and come back to center, uncross those legs, and you're going to walk your knees and your feet all the way together. From here, I'm going to rest my hands just between my hip bones here on my lower belly. You don't have to rest your hands there. And then I'm going to breathe in to open my knees to a nice big butterfly stretch. Breathe out to close those knees, turn on your inner thighs, and breathe in to open those knees to release. So little moving butterfly here with your breath. The reason we're breathing in to open is to release tension in your pelvic floor. We're breathing out to close to create support for those inner thighs. Try to keep your glutes relaxed while you're here. That's the hardest part. They want to grip on as those knees fall open. You can roll onto the outsides of your feet. You don't feel the need to hold your feet down on the ground flat with the soles of those feet. And then we'll just do 2 more of these.
After that second one, go ahead and grab the backs of your thighs, nod your chin towards your chest, and roll all the way up to take a seat. Once you're sitting high on those sits bones, you're just going to take your hands back behind you, use them to kind of prop your chest up to a nice proud, even past neutral spine, and walk those feet about mat distance apart here. Position feels kind of funky. Promise this hip exercise is going to feel great. It's your windshield wiper of your knees. So both knees are just going to fall up and over to the left, and then both knees are going to fall up and over to the right. Little twist here. If your upper body comes into it a tiny bit, there's nothing wrong with that. Just want you to feel the internal rotation on one side and the external rotation on the other. One side might like the internal rotation better. One side might like the external rotation better. Just start to notice these things about your hips, about your body, and breathe into it. Again, we're not gripping onto anything here. There's no need. This exercise is about expansion. We're doing 2 more sets here. If you want to stay here longer, nothing wrong with that. This is an awesome exercise. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to come onto our forearm facing towards the screen. We're on our side here. If you prefer to just lie all the way down on your side, that's completely fine as well. Just want you to stack those knees on top of one another. Our knees are bent here. We're going to start, think like your clam. Your knees open, your feet stay connected. Beautiful. And then from here, instead of your knees just closing, your feet are going to open as your knees close. So knees connect and then toes connect. So your feet are open when the knees are connected, and then your knees are open when the toes are connected. You need to look at me, that's okay. If you want to bring your top hand on your hip, that's always fine. We're creating that same internal and external rotation that we just talked about in that windshield wiper here in this knee to knee and this toe to toe. Gravity is not assisting us, however, in this direction. So there's a lot more work happening in your glute. I'm sure you feel it immediately. It's super strong. Think about your thigh bone rotating as opposed to your foot doing the work. And we're here for 3 more. Ooh, feel that burn for 2 more. And then after this last one, just go ahead and close those knees, take a breath. We're going to prop ourselves up to sit here, get ready for a variation of our mermaid. So I'll start to separate my legs just a tad, making my way into my Z sit. One shin lined up with the short edge of my mat, other shin lined up with the long edge of my mat. Bringing both arms to a nice big T here. Try to keep your hips as solid as you can. Think about the crown of your head reaching towards the sky like there's a string pulling it up there. We're going to breathe in, start to tip over towards your left, and then reach your right hand all the way up and over towards that opposite short side of your mat. Feel your ribs lifting up high for the sky. And then come all the way back up to your tall letter T with your exhale. Tipping over to the opposite direction, towards that folded back shin, reaching up and over for the sky, opening up this side of our ribs. And then coming all the way back up to that letter T. This time you're just going to tip over towards that free edge of the mat. Pause once you get to your side bend, your mermaid. I'm going to start to rotate my chest down towards the ground. Both hands are going to end up on the mat. Line them up about shoulder distance apart. Can you lift your head, neck, and chest up towards the sky here? It's not a very large move. Think shoulders down your back. And then slowly start to bend those elbows. Unwind back into your mermaid. Think like a flower blooming. Come all the way up and over to that big letter T. And then all the way to the other side. One more all the way through like that with the rotation. So bringing those arms to your T to start. Side bend over towards that open edge of the mat. Twisting towards that open edge of the mat. Rotate your heart, readjust your hands, and then think lift my head, neck, and chest up towards the ceiling, little baby extension. Bend those elbows, start to lower your head, unravel to that mermaid. You're coming all the way up and over, side bend to the other side. 2 breaths here. You can sit up nice and tall, relax those shoulders, relax your neck if you want to shake it out. And we're gonna start with that knee to knee, toe to toe on the opposite side. So dropping one forearm down, knees are bent, they're stacked, feet are tucked underneath to start. Going for that clam, knees open, and then knee to knee, toes open. Toe to toe, knees open, knee to knee, toes open. Breathing out in one direction, breathing in the other. It doesn't matter which one. Feeling that work in your hip immediately. Working from the thigh bone as much as you can. Lifting up out of that bottom forearm, make sure your obliques are not collapsing here, so there's a strength in your center, supporting your spine to keep you rock solid as just that hip does the work. Range of motion, maybe smaller, maybe larger. We're fighting gravity this time instead of letting gravity take us into that release. You've got 3 of these. 2 of these. Little break after this last one. Drop that knee, relax, take a breath, and start to open up those legs as you prop yourself up to sit, getting ready for your mermaid on this side. Starting off just with that straight side bend, up and over towards that open edge of the mat, reaching up and overhead, sending our ribs up high towards the sky. Belly button to spine, big exhale is gonna lift you all the way up. You're going over towards that folded back shin side for your counter stretch. Breathe in once you get there. Breathe out, lift, lift, lift. We're going to add your rotation. Up and over, side bend mermaid. Rotate our heart down towards the ground. Open up those hands so it feels comfortable for our shoulders. And then lift our head, neck, and chest up, baby extension. Take a breath, shine that heart forward. And then start to bend those elbows, drop your head, unfold to your mermaid side bend, prop yourself up, head for your counter stretch. One more of those, make your way to your T. Side bend up and over, start to turn towards the ground. Both hands land, heart shines up, think almost like a swan, a twisted swan in this case. And then start to bend those elbows, unravel that blooming flower. And then counter stretch, holding for 2 big breaths here. Come all the way up, relax those shoulders, shake out that head, and then the soles of my feet are gonna come to touch, knees bent out wide towards the side. We did a butterfly stretch like this earlier, lying down. We're gonna end with this butterfly stretch, sitting up nice and tall. So if you wanna hold on to those ankles, go ahead and do so. Use that feedback to lift your spine, grow as tall as you can. And then can you keep your spine long as you start to bend your elbows, drop your chest, think reach your heart over past those toes, and use your bending elbows to press those knees, those thighs down a little bit closer to the ground. No matter how far you get, you're doing amazing here. Try to take as much tension as you can out of those hips, pulling up on those ankles. Oh yeah, feel that work. 3 big breaths. On your final exhale, curl your forehead down towards those feet. Release any tension you need to in the hands. Walk them all the way forward. Big stretch in your spine. And then we're rolling up one bone at a time, reaching high for the sky. Grow as tall as you possibly can. And you can drop those arms, close those knees, and give yourself a hand. Amazing work. Hips feel wonderful after that. I hope yours do too. Might feel a little sore, a little cranky tomorrow, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. Continue to do this work to release any of that tension you may not have even known was there. I can't wait to see you next time on the mat.